All right, we are going to continue on here with Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. We're going to start here with Reed, and we'll work our way around the room.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire. I know 60 wins is on your radar, so is 3 in a row. But your next win will make you the winningest driver ever at Joe Gibbs Racing. I wonder if that number's on your radar, considering you've been there your whole career and Joe and JD sort of gave you your shot.
Yeah, it certainly is special. Such a historic organization, obviously, with championship drivers and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, I've been there longer than anyone else, so that increased my odds. But, there's just been a lot of greats that have run through there. So it's certainly a title I'd like to have.
All right, we'll go next here to Zach or Cameron, or both.
Zach Sternio, NASCAR.com. Denny, what is it about this place, the allure of it, that really makes a driver want to be successful here? The stadium atmosphere, the history of it. What is it about this place to you that makes this place special?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that there's something to it, right? You do have these stadium atmospheres, so all the sound is right here, right? I mean, it's the noises of a racetrack, the noises of a short track that you grew up racing when you were a kid. So, it's just on the much bigger stage. So I think that's a big part of it. And then certainly over time, it's just that the fans are right there on you. And so that certainly, a lot of the tracks where the fans are super close to the actual racing surface and infield, it always feels bigger.
Cameron Richardson, NASCAR.com. 400 consecutive starts tomorrow. Less than 30 Cup drivers have accomplished that feat. So for you personally, what does the significance of that milestone mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a number for me. I hadn't thought of it or anything like that. It's certainly very hard to do. I mean, I've done this for 20-some years now, and certainly know the toll that it takes on your body in the long term. It's very, very difficult to stay in the car at all times. But and I've had to miss a few times because of other things. But certainly, it's great to be part of the sport as long as I have.
Let's go to Shane here.
Shane Connick, Charlotte Observer. Denny, how cool is it to come to Bristol like this? And then when you look toward the future and the Major League Baseball game it's going to be in this venue, how much does it mean for the sport to be able to, you have this iconic short track that has its place in NASCAR, but to bring a whole different professional sport to this facility?
Yeah, I think it's great for the facility, and certainly they've hosted a few other sports as well. And so this is a big, area for sports when you think about, how close you got Knoxville and some other college football teams around this area. To bring a Major League Baseball game obviously is big. I don't know that there's a lot of teams really condensed in this area, so you're bringing baseball. It's very similar to me what we did in Chicago, right? You're bringing the game to the people.
We'll go to Davey.
Davey Siegel with SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. You and Gabe Hart had raced together on a bunch of different traction compounds, resin, PJ1, VHT, all those things. You and Gale have not done that together yet. This race being what it was a year ago, still don't really know the exact reasons, but with the PJ1 being put down, how it has been so far, how have you and Gale prepared for this traction compound, this track this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we, are kind of assuming that we're going to have a very similar race as to what we've had in the fall last year. If it turns out to be something different, which I think is a very low possibility, then you adapt from there, just like we had to do, or everyone really had to do last spring. But, that really is important in the driver-crew chief relationship to understand, okay, what are the things that we need to work on? I've got this experience from last year to know that there's certain things that, I'm going to need out of the car if this is going to be a tire conservation type race. And so I think that puts you at a leg up in those situations, certainly one where we were successful doing it. So, I have the utmost confidence that we'll come here with a fast car and contend and hopefully, find ourselves up at the front when it really counts.
We'll go to Dustin and then to Kelly.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. I know it takes multiple layers to have a successful organization, successful team with what you've been able to do at 2311. But I wanted to ask you about the pit crew and certainly the process that you've gone through that and what they've been able to do and how much effort you've been involved with that and what that means to kind of see some of the results that we're seeing now out of the 2311 pit crew.
Yeah, I mean they it's certainly encouraging to see because we definitely put a lot of effort into it. You know, not just money but effort, and that's, you know, whether it be recruiting people, you know, getting them to trust in us that we have a process. A lot of the tricky things that you see on pit road these days came actually from 2311. So there's a lot of things that they're really being innovative in, and certainly it's exciting to see it kind of play out now on Sundays. And so knowing that your cars are contenders on the racetrack is one thing, because, you know, Michael said for a long time that we're only going to be able to sell the dream for so long. You have to live it at some point. You have to be the dream. And so we can't talk about, you know, how great we can be or are going to be. Like, you have to be great. You can't just talk about it. And so we really feel like we're taking the next step, and the pit crew was the next step for that organization to get better, because we knew we were building fast cars, but we as the team, I thought, was letting our drivers down for a couple of years, and that was just part of the building process. You know, they understood when they signed on that this is something that was going to take time to get better, and they were very patient with us.
Also, this sport has had long stretches of consecutive weekends of racing, so it's part of the sport's history. But after the Easter break, it's 28 consecutive weekends of racing, which is significantly more than years past. What is the challenge from a car owner's perspective of keeping people fresh, and where is a breaking point, or is there such thing as a breaking point?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a breaking point, right? I think we've seen it's been harder and harder to keep people over the years. You know, the one thing that I do feel good about is, you know, our track record for keeping people at 2311 and keeping them happy. But it's just generally a hard sport to be a part of because of the schedule and the tasks that we ask our people to do, and how long we ask them to do it. And so, yeah, it's really, really hard. You know, it's certainly not ideal, and I understand why we're doing it. We're just trying to cut one more week away from competing with football, but man, it certainly is very hard on people.
We're going to go to Kelly and then Alan.
Kelly CrandallRacer.com. Denny, the PJ1 that you were talking about, Logano made it sound like he's not sure if it'll be reapplied for tomorrow. Do you want it to just stay as is right now, or is it worth a conversation with NASCAR of what's the plan? Do you even want it reapplied?
I think it's good to apply it. I think some of the better races that we've had here, it has been when the bottom has been as good or equal to the top. The challenging races have been when it's just been really top dominant and you can't move around. That's when you'll see the accordioning effect of you'll catch the lap tail in the lap cars and then no one can pass anyone. So I think the PJ1 here has been a positive. I always wasn't a huge proponent of it, but after racing it enough years, I think it is good for the competition aspect to move around and have options. And sometimes your car's not great in both lanes, and that's what makes the great cars really show up when it counts at the end of this race. So I don't really have a preference whether they keep reapplying or not, as long as we all know ahead of time what that's going to be.
And then secondly, I'm curious, as we talk about the next win making you the winningest at Gibbs, and then also having the opportunity to win 3 straight, which you've never done before, considering all that you have accomplished in this sport, these moments, do you value or appreciate having just new things that you can accomplish and add to your resume?
Yeah, but you know, I try not to psych myself out too much about it, because I think you sometimes put too much emphasis on those types of situations, and then you end up making silly mistakes. And so I try to just be as even keel as I can. It's a new week. It's another great opportunity to go win a race, and if it just so happens that it's 3 in a row, that'd be awesome, and certainly a very proud moment in my career. But it's not something that we set out to do each and every week. We don't go into the season saying, all right, I want to win at some point 3 in a row this year. Like, that's just such a hard thing to do because all the stars have to align perfectly. As we saw last week, they did align perfectly for us. So, it'd be fantastic. Some of the greats of our sport have done it, and I haven't, and just tells you how difficult it is.
All right. Looks like we're going to take one more question. We're going to go to Alan.
Denny, Alan Cavana, PRN. This ability to even be in contention for 3 in a row in your 40s. We talk about age a lot in the sport. Do you see yourself as defying the aging curve in what you're doing now?
Well, I think that it's been different for everyone, right? I mean, maybe, but I think people like Harvick were still, even, I think was he 48 when he retired? Like, he was still on top of his game as far as I was concerned. So I think it's different for everyone. Others you've seen that, you get to 43, 44, the light switch goes off. So you just never know. But, my drive is still there. And obviously the performance is still there. So I'm going to try to just, win all I can in this window while it is still there. So I think it's, Mark Martin did it when he was 50. He was fantastic. I mean, there's no way I'll ever make it that far for sure. But it's, again, everyone's body, everyone's mind, everyone's eyesight is all different. And it goes away at different times.
Denny, thanks so much for
Thank you.
coming in, and good luck this weekend. And as you can see, we have our top 30 NASCAR Cup Series drivers starting to come in at this